Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Julene with Jovi Star Astrology. Here to talk about the new moon in Aquarius coming through this week. I hope you guys are doing well and staying out of trouble. That's hard to do during Aquarius season, right? Stay out of trouble. Um, but I think lots of things going on, exciting things in the world, and I'm sure for each of you changes for sure. And that's what this new moon is promising. It's promising change, maybe a little chaos, right? Maybe a little bit of unexpected events, maybe a little bit of antsiness, feeling a little unsettled, possibly. Maybe you guys are feeling that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to look at the chart like we always do. Check out the Sabian symbols, unpack what this new moon cycle has in store for us and what the opportunities might be coming down the pipeline for us to take advantage of. It's coming through on February 9th, so I'm recording this a couple of days early. So it shows up here February 9th, Friday, February 9th, in the afternoon, and I'll go over the specifics of that when we throw the chart up. But I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, and sharing. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel and definitely leave me comments what your thoughts are. I always like to hear what your thoughts are. And if you are interested, of course, in a personal reading, you can find my information down below in the description box. You can get a hold of me through my email, or you can send me a message through my website. So we're going to get into it here. I'm going to pull the chart up, and still second video here working on the new technology. And the last time I did a video, if you saw the last video, I wasn't able to figure out how to project the writing from my drawing tool onto the recording, but have since figured that out. So I'm super excited about that. I actually didn't figure it out. My son did. He's very, very techie, and I struggled with it for a while. And then, of course, he figured it out in about 15 minutes, which worked for me. So I'll be able to do that, and that makes me happy because it's helpful for me to have something to do with my hands. As a Gemini, it's like if I don't have something to do with my hands, they're going to be flailing all over the place. That's just a Gemini trait. I'm sure if you have a Gemini in your chart, you can definitely relate to that. So yeah, that's figured out. Really excited about that. All of this stuff in Aquarius, Pluto going into Aquarius, has motivated me to move forward and learn new technology, which Aquarius, it's one of the things Aquarius represents among many, many other things. But, and it will be going on for a very, very long time. But as Pluto entered into Aquarius, that was just something that I felt motivated to do. So here we are. I hope that you are enjoying it. I'm having a little bit of fun with it. We might see some interesting things. I might try some new things. We'll see. But we are going to take a look at this chart for today and break down what's going on here. So I'm going to pop it up on the screen. So here we go. And if I grab the right pen, here we go. Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's look at, and this is the one glitch I haven't figured out. It's not a huge glitch, but what happens when I go to use my writing tool is that when I first start to deploy it, it kind of hesitates a little bit. And then once I get started with it, it's fine. So I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it's just a process of waking up. I don't know. Okay, so here we have the new moon in the sign of Aquarius. And a new moon is when the moon and the sun come together conjunct, and it is the beginning of a new cycle. And this new moon has Aquarius themes in the sign of Aquarius at 20 degrees. This new moon comes through on the 9th. Oops, see, there you go. Did it again. Crazy. Sorry, let me try and control this thing. Comes through on February 9th, 2024, which is this Friday, where I'm at in Phoenix, Arizona. It's coming through at 3:58 p.m. On the East Coast, will be coming through at 5:58, and then on the West Coast, we'll be seeing this full moon at 2:58. If you are elsewhere, and I know some of you are in other places, just adjust it for your time zone, right? So that you will know what time this is going to show up for you. I'm going to get these little tick marks off of the screen because it's going to drive me crazy, and see if I can draw it. There we go. Easy does it. Okay. Full moon in Aquarius at 20 degrees. We'll take a look at the Sabian symbols, give us a little bit of a deeper meaning of this lunar event. But let's look at the aspects that we have going on here. So we have the new moon in the exciting, changeable, rebellious, progressive sign of Aquarius that represents the collective, right? The collective group of people. And also, it represents the things that we're striving for, right? Our goals, our hopes, our wishes, right? And so, and is ruled by Uranus and by Saturn. And so, Uranus is something that can make us feel antsy. We can, feel like we have to make a change, or just, very convicted about something. Saturn is all about creating structure and doing work to move things forward. In the sign of Aquarius, this is progress and forward movement into the future, hopefully, right? But it can be unsettled. It can feel unsettling, right? And when we're talking about the collective and groups of people, we can have large numbers of people feeling a little bit unsettled and a little bit antsy. And so this is a new moon where we kind of have to pay attention to who we are associating with, and definitely keep an eye out for what's going on out there in the world, because I really think we're going to see some interesting things. Uranus is known for the unusual as well, right? Little bit outside of tradition and a little unusual. But we have this new moon here. And again, we'll look at the Sabian symbol shortly, but it is squaring Uranus, which is one of its rulers, in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign ruled by Venus. Wants very much to focus on practical growth when it comes to our resources, when it comes to our security and our comfort, how we feel about things, the things that we want, and also the things that we desire. But it's about tangible material things, right? In the sign of Taurus. So Aquarius being a fixed air sign, this is about, the electricity in the air, the energy in the air, our thought processes, right? Ideas, new ideas, innovations, all of those things. Squaring its ruler in the sign of Taurus might bring us some radical change, or some kind of new and exciting idea or opportunity for change in our lives. Could also be something that comes in very unexpectedly, and we have to figure out how to deal with these kinds of changes, right? And it could be a little chaotic, because Aquarius can be a little bit chaotic in its energetic presentation. So very electric, magnetic, exciting, changeable energy in the air with this new moon in Aquarius. So try and maintain your balance, right? Sometimes change is always good, and if we have an event like this, if we've been stuck, sort of sputtering on whether or not we should do something, maybe we don't have enough resources, or maybe things just aren't quite right. We could have been, sort of hesitating, making changes that we need to make. This is a really great time to actually be able to make those changes. And something might come along and actually force our hand. A square is kind of like that. It requires some kind of action or compromise or control, right, on our part within a situation or a thought process that, we just kind of either have to hold on, but we're going to feel it, right? We're going to feel it. So there might be a little bit of a need to, kind of control our reactions, possibly. But a square is definitely something that is, forcing change. So it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? And this could be something sudden. So, just kind of watch out a little bit and know that if something comes at you, you've got support here, support from the ruler of this new moon, the secondary ruler, or what, Aquarius has co-rulers, right? Saturn is the traditional ruler, Uranus is the modern ruler. I use both. I have found that both very much are at play in my observation of the astrology for myself, as well as other people that I've worked with. So I use both rulers. So we have some stability here to fall back on with the ruler. Another ruler of this new moon being Saturn in the sign of Pisces, which happens to be sextile Jupiter and in the earth sign of Taurus, the fixed earth sign of Taurus. And we're dealing with fixed energy. Aquarius is fixed, Taurus is fixed. Things that don't move easily or change easily. We can feel stuck. And an event like this, a new moon like this, can be the beginning of getting us unstuck from something. But the Saturn here, one of the co-rulers, sextiling Jupiter, kind of puts us in a place where we're going to be a little bit careful and controlled about how about how we move through that growth, right? We're going to want information. We're going to be a little careful in terms of the kind of money we spend. Jupiter in Taurus, resources, money, finances. Slow and steady wins the race. So Saturn sextiling that, if we take a breath and sit down and really take a look at the bigger picture, it can provide us some support or stability within an potentially unstable or situation where we have to make quick decisions. This can provide us some support to just kind of slow things down a little bit, pull back, and do some, contemplation, right? So much needed contemplation. Pisces is very much about kind of, meditating on things, and Saturn is in Pisces is looking for some kind of work, some kind of structure that has to do with a purpose, right? Hopefully a spiritual purpose, but it's definitely something that is emotional and sensitive. And so this sextile could help you feel into, or take a break, or just sort of, slow things down a little bit if you find that things are moving a little bit fast. And also, Saturn is, people that can advise you, right? So Saturn sextile Jupiter, do your homework, right? Look for experts, ask questions, try and figure out what is the best way to handle a potential sudden change or opportunity or event that comes up, and that may be disrupting your life or wanting you to move forward and do something completely different. And you've got to find out the facts first, right? So that's a good aspect, the sextile. If you do that, it will support you. And it doesn't mean that an opportunity that may come up is going to be gone forever if you take a minute and do a little bit of homework. And we'll talk more about this ruler when it comes to about Saturn as one of the rulers when it comes to this new moon, because I want to take a look at the Sabian symbol for that degree in Pisces as well, because we've dealt with this degree over the last year as Saturn has moved into Pisces as of last March, and then come to this degree, and then began retrograding back, and now is at this degree again. So when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, we've been dealing with that degree. And I have some thoughts on that around things that have been going on in my life. But we'll take a closer look at that when we're looking at the Sabian symbols. Other things that we have at play here that, can be helpful. I mean, we just had Mercury come into a conjunction with the planet Pluto that's just entered in the sign of Aquarius, and all of the personal planets. The moon and the sun actually were the first, and they're the luminaries, the lights. They're not really planets, but we call them planets, hit Pluto first. And so whatever's going on, those things could already have been brought to your attention, either emotionally or, internally. It's like something that you want to do or something that you feel like you need to do. the moon and the sun hitting Pluto first may have made those situations or those thoughts, much more prevalent, right? Or there could have been a situation that, is calling attention to some kind of change in your life. And then Mercury, the mind, that communication, the things we're hearing and talking about, and has just recently hit Pluto. And so, precision in terms of how we're communicating, right? And very powerful information potentially coming through, or conversations, or, thought processes, or whatever. There's a lot going into this, these changes. And now we have, we have all of these planets in Aquarius coming behind this new moon. So watch for when Mercury and then Mars and then Venus, after they hit Pluto in Aquarius, come into the sign of Aquarius and hit this 20-degree mark in the next 30 to 45 days. I think that's when we will really start to see some action here, right? Some action, movement, and change, and things might get a little bit weird and interesting. If not in our own lives, we should be watching what's going on out there in the world. So you may be in observation mode. If you have planets or your rising sign is near 20 degrees of Aquarius or any of the fixed signs, so Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, or Leo, this will be creating squares or oppositions for you. And definitely, especially if you have a rising or a sun anywhere, I'd say anywhere from like 17 degrees to 23 degrees of the fixed signs, this new moon is definitely signifying the start of a change or a new beginning for you, a new cycle of change. If you are, there are other signs that are experiencing, Libra is a sister sign. There'll be a trine there. So very free flowing energy. Gemini can experience some changes, but, the trines are generally described as being harmonious. Yeah, sometimes they can be. Really what it means is it flows very, very easily. So even though it should be positive, it still might be a little bit unsettling, right? Things could be coming in very, very quickly. So watch the month of February. It should be very exciting and can bring change for a lot of us out there. But if you're a fixed sign, right? If you're a fixed sign close to those degrees, keep an eye out. We have Saturn, one of the rulers, and Uranus is ruling all of this Aquarius. Saturn, co-ruler of Aquarius, is ruling all of this Capricorn that we still have going on here. I should say all this Capricorn. We still have Venus and Mars in the sign of Capricorn. And Venus is trining, which is another supportive aspect, is trining Uranus, which is in the square to the new moon. So that's a supportive energy too. And Venus in the sign of Capricorn generally wants to make sure that its movements, its desires, what it is it wants and it loves, and whether it has to do with relationships or money or whatever, that its investment is going to pay off in the long run, right? And so Venus trine Uranus is generally, described as a very quick change when it comes to finances, resources, or relationships, right? Venus trine Uranus, a Jupiterian trine is like something is changing very, very quickly, or the opportunity for change is happening very, very quickly. But generally, like I said, Venus in Capricorn is looking for a payoff, right? Or they're looking for something that is going to be substantial and stable. A lot of times, especially if you have Capricorn placements, sometimes Capricorn can get stuck in a rut and sort of be afraid of pushing a button or jumping a gun or starting something new because it's not sure what the payoff is going to be, right? So this could also be something that could unstuck, could unstick you, if you've been holding back. Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, and that can cause, holding back out of fear sometimes, right? And just sort of going with the tried and true and the same old, and not really moving things forward, or, having the confidence, right? A lot of times to reach out and create change, or roll with the punches, and not, try to resist it. So Venus here trining Saturn can also help do that. It can help some of us that, don't pull the trigger on things so easily. Just depends on what your placements are and what's going on in your chart. But overall, this new moon is about change, progress, movement, potentially instability, unstable circumstances or situations. And, it could just be restless feeling, right? I mean, the stars don't make us do anything, but it tells us, like, what's present. And we're talking about the moon, which is our emotions, right? And our instincts, and the sun, which is what, where we're desiring to go, like what we want. And a planet or a sign like Aquarius, we could really be feeling the urge to make changes. This is a really good new moon for, joining new groups, getting involved with new kinds of activities. And, just sort of spicing things up, going a different direction, trying something that's not usual for you. It could also signify out there in the collective that we've got, the natives are restless, right? Like, and we know that we are, as a collective, we've been very restless over a lot of things. So this is also because of the high energy in this new moon. We want to make sure that we are thinking about one another, and, being, and keeping our mind open, and being objective about, the communities that we are a part of, or what we're going to be, joining in on, right? Because, this could be a little bit volatile, I don't know, honestly, during this actual new moon, if I would want to be in a crowd of people, depending on where it was, right? A fun and exciting crowd of people that appreciates one another, and the diversity within the group, that would be great, right? But if we've got any kind of anger or resentment within a group, or a cause, for a cause or anything else, this is also a new moon where we might want to be careful about violence, right? Because that could happen in large groups of people. So, we've got some events going on here in the United States. We've got the Super Bowl this weekend, which is happening in Las Vegas, which is known for its kind of crazy atmosphere. I love football, but I'm not sure that I would want to be there this weekend. I don't have the option to be there. I understand, like, suites are like $2 million. So it's a little bit above my pay range. So I won't be going anyway. I'll be watching it from home. But that's an example, right, of where you might want to be a little bit cautious. And Aquarius can, energy, even though you're feeling like mixing it up a little bit, there is the ability to sort of detach a little bit from the crowd. And some of us might be doing that. We might be going through a period of contemplation and sort of detaching, and taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture and thinking through things in a little bit more intellectual manner. We might be taking that kind of position and trying to decide which way we're going to go. And, Aquarius rules politics. And so we all might be in a place where we are, going through the policies and the changes, and trying to decide, which way we're going to go in terms of our politics, right? I'm not really a political type person, but it does represent Aquarius, so I'm bringing it up. But yeah, and we know that there is a lot going on. We've got Saturn ruled new moon, we've got Saturn in Pisces. We know there's a lot going on when it comes to borders and immigration, and all kinds of Saturnian, Piscean type things, like the state of healthcare and the state of pharmaceuticals, and the state of mental health care in this country, and all of those Piscean things that are going on. And these kinds of things can be, sort of fueling the undercurrents when it comes to, our emotions and how we're feeling. And so lots going on there, lots of different group activities and mindsets that can be mixing and mingling. And so just something to be mindful of when we're when we're jumping out into the world these days. But otherwise, it can be something that is fun, exciting, and different. So that is the new moon. Now I want to talk about the Sabian symbols. So we'll go back to that, and we're at 20 degrees of Aquarius. So as you know, if you've watched the channel, watch me go over these Sabian symbols. We're looking at 21 degrees of Aquarius because we always round up. And I'm going to grab my Sabian symbol book. Here we go. And we'll see if we can put a little bit more meaning into this symbol. And like I said, I want to also take a look at the Sabian symbols of the rulers of this new moon because they are at play here and making some aspects. I think that it would be helpful. So Aquarius 21, a woman disappointed and disillusioned. Keyword is clearance. Okay. The theme, the long and winding road. This symbol speaks to the consequences of relying totally on things outside the self or believing that physical and material possessions are the ultimate source of happiness. The image of a woman disappointed and disillusioned is one of the negative or reverse symbols. And it symbolizes grief, emotional distress, loss, and discouragement. The implication here is that when individuals are anchored within themselves rather than in the outer world in which they live, they learn that frustration and limitations are merely challenges for developing potential and the means for a genuine fulfillment through the never-ending process of self-discovery. So that's the pulling back. That's the Aquarius ability to detach and take a broader, more intellectual look at things. And the Sabian symbol is suggesting that depending on what's going on, it's a good time to do that, to get perspective. At its highest, this symbol represents resilience and a determination to succeed, or the ability to bounce back after disappointment and defeat and try again. Negative would be pessimism or a tendency, pessimism or a tendency to give up too easily. Today, the accent is on regret. You may realize too late that you relied on the wrong thing to get what you wanted. So maybe this is talking about a little bit of going backwards, taking a look at things before we move forward, or taking a look at how we connect to the things in the world, connection between our emotional world maybe and our material world. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this. Your greatest advantage lies in applying what you learn through experience to achieving new goals. Pick yourself up and keep moving forward. Guard against giving up on everything when things go wrong in one area of your life. Never lose hope. Small failures are stepping stones to success. Keywords are distress, disappointment, frustration, defeat, disillusionment, grief, loss, discouragement, sadness, despondency, discontent, dejection, letdown, regret, anguish, and misplaced values. So, wow, that's a heavy degree. As stated here, it's considered one of the negative or reverse symbols. So there could be a bit of a cautionary tale there within this new moon, in that, even though we might be feeling antsy and want change, that we might want to be contemplative about that and maybe not carry forward the feelings of disappointment and regret and loss into what we're trying to create for ourselves going forward, right? Maybe to me, it sounds like that, a little bit more of being a little practical, right? Maybe a little detached, maybe thinking about creating change within yourself, right? Unpacking all of that stuff before moving forward. It could definitely symbolize that Interesting degree. I mean, when you read it, it sounds like, wow, like maybe we ought to watch out. Something really intense could be happening, and we could have some intense things happen. I'm going to turn that off there, the chart. We could have some intense things happen, and we've seen some things happen. We're talking about fixed air. We've seen some pretty heavy rain and windstorms, right? We've seen groups that have come together over political issues or immigration issues, and a lot of us might be worried about potential upheaval there or violence. We've seen, many of us feel like we're just one person in a world that's just chaotic and sort of everybody's looking out for themselves. A lot of us may feel that way, and that we can't just we can't get ahead, right? But we may see some uprisings and upheaval and chaos going on in this next cycle, right? And I mean, people are kind of getting tired of the things that are going on here, in our world, right? And wish that things were different. So this is a good time to think about, what have how can we contribute in a positive way, right? And if we can't contribute in a positive way, how do we pull back, take a look at ourselves, regroup, find some, get some advice, fall back on that Saturn sextile Jupiter, right? Take it easy, and before we make any moves, right? So let's take a look. There's at the 7 degrees. Let me go over here, and boy, this pen is really glitching today. It's just like that. Okay. Look at the Sabian symbol for Saturn here in the 7th degree, and for Uranus in the 19th degree, because they are the co-rulers or the rulers of this new moon. So let's take a look at 19 Taurus first. And we've read this before. We've come across this one before, I believe. Let's see. Or I know I've read them. I read them. I read these all the time. My book is just like, the pages are bent. It's just kind of a mess. Okay, so Taurus 20, rounding up, is wind, clouds, and haste. Keyword is exaltation. Holding to center, this symbol speaks to the inclination of the average person to skim over the surface of life and avoid deeper involvement. It also speaks to the instability and insecurity that results from a successful avoidance of commitment and responsibility. The image of wind, clouds, and haste symbolizes change, ephemerality, and impatience. This is yet another image designated by Mark Jones, at one of the creators of the Sabian symbols, along with Elsie Wheeler, who was the psychic that actually interpreted them, right, through her senses into words. Mark Jones was the astrologer. It designated by Mark Jones as a negative or reverse symbol, and it emphasizes the importance of staying poised and holding steady in the midst of temporary turmoil and confusion. At its highest, this symbol represents the ability to stay centered in the face of sudden change and crisis, and a gift for recognizing and seizing the opportunities that are stirred up by excitement. Negative would be the inability to accomplish anything of long-term value as the result of a tendency to get lost in superficial details. The accent is on confusion. Things are in flux, and it may be difficult to get a grasp on which direction to take or what to focus your attention on. Your greatest advantage lies in waiting it out, keeping your eye open for unexpected opportunities, and staying calm. Guard against trying to do things too fast or trying to handle too many things at once. Failing to take the time to investigate thoroughly could prove fatal. Keywords would be change, instability, agitation, diffusion, disturbance, transiency, turmoil, confusion, scatter, and excitement. We experience, now that I've read this, we experienced this Sabian symbol, obviously, when the nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio, but we were at this stage in the summer of 2022, June, July of 2022. Maybe for some of you that experienced those nodal transits and changes, right? The fixed signs. This is a fixed new moon. maybe think back to what your experience was around that time. May not be the same, but you might notice that maybe the feeling, because the nodes were there, and Uranus wasn't too far off, because Uranus travels back and forth. I think maybe Uranus was at like 17 degrees back during that time, so you might notice a theme or a similarity in the feeling that you have, or if you experience some kind of change, maybe it's related. I don't know. You'll have to let me know, but think back to that time, right? Summer of 2022. This symbol is talking about change too, sudden change that disrupts us, that is disrupting in some way. So we have this new moon squaring Uranus, and both of them are talking about unsettling, jolting, change, and possibly loss and tension, right? Keep an eye out there in the collective, right? Aquarius rules airmen. And the reason I know that is because I recently had a client, and I was looking up, she's in the Air Force, and I was looking it up, and it falls under Aquarius. But, we just had this morning reported that a helicopter full of Marines off the coast of California has disappeared. We know that we've been hearing about these mechanical issues with the Boeing planes recently, like some big things, right? I don't know, Aquarius, with being a fixed air sign, for me, squaring Uranus, this new moon, I'm not going to be hopping on an airplane anytime soon. And I probably won't be in large groups of agitated people either, right? So let's look at the Sabian symbol for 7 degrees of Pisces. And we have definitely hit this one before. And this one I have a little bit to say about, because it made me think, as it was sextiling Jupiter as part of this lunar event, made me think about a few things when it comes to what we're all experiencing in the collective. I mean, Saturn and Pisces is like, what's going on behind the scenes, right? What kind of structures are a little fishy, right? What's going on within our work? How are we feeling emotionally about work, or about our purpose out there in the world, or like who's managing things? Pisces is like, it's confusing, right? It's elusive. We don't always know what's going on. And, we're in this, Saturn and Pisces cycle where we're looking at all things Pisces and trying to figure out how to either rebuild them, work with them in some way. And, it has a lot of people feeling oppressed, depressed, upset. We've got a lot going on with those things in the world, right? So I've got a few things to say about that came to my mind, but I'm going to read the Sabian symbol for 8 degrees of Pisces, which we've dealt with before, and it's a girl blowing a bugle. Summons, right? The key word is summons. A call to action. This symbol speaks to self-refinement and to the development of special expertise and skill. The image of a girl blowing a bugle emphasizes personal responsibility and pride in accomplishment. The suggestion here is that individuals find their ultimate happiness through being of genuine service to others, definitely Pisces, and a special niche for themselves among their followers. Finding a special niche. Let me just double. Yeah, finding a special niche for themselves among their followers. On a practical level, this degree can indicate a wake-up call, bragging or tooting one's own horn. At its highest, this symbol represents directness and a special gift for finding opportunities to demonstrate competency and talent. Negative would be intrusiveness or loud attention-getting behavior. The accent is on a wake-up call. This day could present a special challenge. It's definitely a time to pay attention to what you hear. Your greatest advantage lies in being prepared to take action. Keep your wits about you and do what has been done. What has to be done? Be responsible. And Saturn and Pisces is very much about being responsible, right? But, in Pisces, it's about doing the right thing for everybody, right? It's about, tapping into your feelings and your sensitivities when it comes to the environment around us, and which includes everybody, right? So very much about doing the right thing. Guard against dismissing some signal you get as a false alarm. Try not to have everything in your life so ordered and controlled that you can't handle the unexpected emergency or take advantage of that opportunity that you have been waiting for. Stepping stones would be summons, call, invitation, solicitation, signal, challenge, command, directive, citation, evocation, proclamation, achievement, responsibility, announcement, self expression, alert, warning, cue, prompt. So Saturn is saying, pay attention, guys. This might be an important time. I have been thinking about this, right? A girl blowing a bugle. This is about finding our voice. And in Pisces, this is about speaking up on behalf of the Pisces things that are highlighted in our environment. And so I was thinking about, and because it's sextiling Jupiter and Taurus, which is all about resources, and it's all about the inflation of resources and the contraction and all the things that we've been feeling, and the fact that we're all trying to get ahead. We're all trying to figure out how we are going to increase our resources and get what we need. But we need to be thinking about how do these things affect everybody? And I have a Saturn in Pisces, and so process and order, when it comes to the things that most people aren't looking at, right? The things that might be hidden are very important to me. They do matter, but it's interesting how much we don't look at how big of an impact the things that are going on beyond our immediate, circle actually affects us and affects everybody else. And so I was thinking about this, and there have been so many issues come up. I'm going to share a few of the stories and tell you how I feel about it. And let me know how you guys feel about it. I'm like, am I the only one? But things that have been coming up for a while now that just literally make me shake my head. I mean, to be honest with you, it's like, they're like, what the fuck moments. And it's so frustrating because I'm like, am I the only one that sees this? Are they ghosts? Right. Is it my imagination? But here's the thing. So just a couple of examples, right? We have things like we're all purchasing things, buying things online. We got used to that during COVID, right? And here we are doing that now. And of course, I do it, right? It's easy, it's simple, and many times it keeps me away from chaos, and it can be efficient sometimes. But anyway, so a lot of times I'll order my groceries, right? And it's cheaper actually because the fee, the delivery fee keeps, it's like whatever's on the list is what comes, right? There's no walking, and seeing things on the end caps that are for sale and stuffing the basket. But anyway, I notice over and over and over again that there are mistakes in the delivery order, right? They'll substitute things, take it out, add things, give you things that aren't yours. Sometimes you get charged, sometimes you don't. The bottom line is that the process is not efficient, right? You have to wonder, well, are the people that are delivering groceries, do they need to sort of manipulate I shouldn't say need, but do they manipulate the list because there are things they need? It's possible. Right. And I've thought about that. But the processes within companies, resources, right? Things that, we all need as a collective. And this is one example. It's like you see these mistakes. And so every time I call them and I say, well, this is a mistake. And every time the answer is, well, we're going to refund you. We're going to refund you. We're going to refund you. It's like, well, that's great. And I've said to them, I go, that's great. Like refunding me is fantastic. But what about the person that didn't get their stuff, right? Did they pay for that stuff and they didn't get it? I'm sure you gave them a refund too, or if you charged me. The point is the process itself. It's like at the end of the day, somebody pays, right, for this missing stuff. What is that doing? Driving up the prices for everybody instead of getting, I say like, why after so long is nobody looking at fixing the underlying process? There's money to be saved there, right? I recently ordered an Xbox controller, right, for my grandson, and it was late, and the tracking said that it hadn't been shipped, and it had been like a week. This was Target, so I called Target, and they were like, "Well, yep, it hasn't been shipped, so it's probably lost. So we're going to give you your money back, We're going to refund you, of course, 3 to 5 days or whatever it takes. We're going to refund you. And then you can order another one. And I thought, okay, so I ordered another one. That one came just a couple days later. So it was quick. And a week after that, the one I originally ordered came. So here I have two, right? I only paid for one because they refunded me for the first one. And I thought, well, isn't this crazy, right? So I call Target and I tell them what happened. And they don't know what to do, right? So I go, gee, I don't know what to do with that. And put you on hold because they have to talk to a manager. It's like, I'm trying to tell you that you gave me something that I didn't pay for. After putting me on hold and coming back to the phone, the answer was, we thank you for your honesty. You can either keep it or give it to a charity. And I'm like, it's just more of the same. And I'm thinking to myself, well, who pays for that? At the end of the day, right? Everybody's pricing is going up because we don't want to look at operations and processes. We don't want to manage things correctly. It's like those shifty things that are going on. It's very Saturn and Pisces. And it makes me think about, well, what good is that doing for everybody? It's like it's increasing the situation, the inflation that we're dealing with, right? And I just don't get it. I don't understand at all. And it's the same with healthcare. It's like the price, the difference in fees from place to place and how insurance is being billed. And I'm a part of some online groups that, where people post questions. It's a Reddit group. And so I like to keep up with what's going on there. It was my field for so long. And I see just so many things that people are confused about. It's a good thing that they have forums where they can actually ask questions, right? But it's a complete mess. And so it makes us wonder, Saturn and Pisces, like what's going on behind the scenes? How is this affecting all of us? This is a time, the new moon in Aquarius, a new cycle this is a positive way to handle a new cycle like this. And Aquarius is to form groups, come together, identify issues and problems and situations, and actually try and work together to try and figure them out, or at least bring awareness to them. There's an inflation going on. There's inflation. There's a recession happening. God knows where it's going to lead us from here. But there's so much. I mean, I just see in the interactions I have in the day to day with companies and processes, is like there are so many things that could be tweaked very easily within the processes that would save so much money. They just take a little bit of time and they take a little bit of looking at, and it takes taking the blinders off, right? And where is the management of these organizations? Like, right? What are they doing? Are they just sitting in their offices looking good in a suit? Which usually is the case. At least my experience in healthcare, right? And that's a whole nother thing, right? We see all of that. But I think this is a time where people are going to start speaking out and contributing to the solutions that we might have out there. And there are experts out there in different fields. And maybe you're one of them, right? And maybe if we come together and talk about it and just really get loud and bring these ridiculous things that we see out in the open and start talking about it, we can actually come together and create change. That is a very good Aquarius expression I would like to see happen. And yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think. Like, what's going, like, do you see things like that? Am I crazy? It's like, what's behind the curtain? What is going on that we can't see? What are the subtleties? Because I think the end result for all of us, the effect for all of us is just huge. Anyway, so that's my rant. That's my girl blowing a bugle, right? For today, anyway. I don't know. I just don't see myself being quiet about it. And I still haven't figured out what to do with that controller. But I have a mind to, like, I'm going to probably march it back to Target, because I said if I could come there personally. And I haven't done it yet. It hasn't been that long. I haven't done it yet. But it's like, I feel like if I go there and explain it, it's like, what's going to happen is the manager or the service rep that I talk to is going to end up taking it home. Why? Because right now it's free. It's like, I want the loss of that money to go, like, how do we create value from that? Like, I want to create value from that. And I'm certainly not going to keep it, right? Because that's just not the right thing to do. Saturn and Pisces. Not that, I've always done the right thing throughout my life. We all make mistakes. But I think right now in the crisis situations that we were in, we owe it to one another to try and do the right thing and find a purpose that we can participate in that affects change, right? Every little thing. Anyway, have a good new moon in Aquarius. This is the beginning of a cycle. We've got Valentine's Day coming up. May not be such a warm and fuzzy Valentine's Day. It might be more exciting and fun and, maybe an extreme sport. I don't know, a balloon ride, axe throwing, something like that. A little bit more Aquarius. There's not a lot of warm and fuzzy, sweet and soft stuff like if Venus were in Pisces, because we're going to have, for Valentine's Day, we're going to have Venus. She might just be coming right to the end of Capricorn, if not in Aquarius. Either way, Capricorn, Aquarius. For Valentine's Day, it's not the most warm fuzzy, but it could be exciting and fun and could be surprising. So maybe we'll do a video before Valentine's Day and talk about all of that. But anyway, happy new moon. Be careful out there. Keep your eye on the community and see what's going on, but also keep your eye on your prize, right? Aquarius, hopes, dreams, wishes. Find the right people to connect to. Will make a difference. Like, do something different in your life and do it with new people, fun, exciting people. This is about going new and different directions. And let's hope we don't want it to be chaotic, new and different directions like we have seen in some situations that could be related to heavy Aquarius energy. Anyway, thanks for being here. Comment down below. Let me know how you're doing. What's been going on in your life? How has Aquarius season been treating you so far? What are you hoping and dreaming for during this new moon in Aquarius cycle? I will talk to you soon. Comment down below, like the video, subscribe if you can. I would love that. And if you need a reading, information is down below. I would love to meet you. Take care. May the stars forever be in your favor. Bye for now.